Reactions, I think they were kind of, genuine. I mean, he told Triple H earlier in the day. He looks at him, he goes, "Look what you've done to me," and now he's partners with Eugene, who's at the time, very, very comedy, and Ric Flair sees him as a joke, but his
The former Eugene, Nick Dinsmore, shoots on being Ric Flair's partner in the WWE. Let's see what Eugene has to say.
career is being able to tag with Ric Flair against La Resistance, which one of the members of La Resistance is one of my best friends, Rob Conway. To have Rob, who he and I, our careers have paralleled one another since the day we started, have him involved in this special moment, in this special match, I mean, just made it all that more incredible. On the pay-per-view backstage,
How much does a Rob Conway? Oh, about 250 pounds. Had to get that in there.
Flair, Triple H, and Randy Orton were watching the monitor when Eugene storms in all upset and sits down huffing and puffing. And that's when Ric Flair brought in the blue Ric Flair Nature Boy robe that Eugene ended up wearing to the ring. Now, I remember walking through this segment earlier in the day, and when they told me I was going to wear a real Ric Flair robe to the ring, I didn't believe it. I was on cloud nine. I was so excited. It was a rather heavy robe, and there were diamond sequins all over it. I mean, it was a thick robe. It was warm as heck because also I had Eugene's jacket on underneath. He would always bring it to the shows in the little zipper bag. And that day, I guess he had to carry two of them because he had his and the one that I wore. And the rumors are that those things are tens of thousands of dollars a piece, and I don't know how many he has, but he has a plethora of colors. To have an entrance with Ric Flair, that's a boyhood dream right there. Who would have thought when I got into professional wrestling that I was going to be able to wear a Ric Flair robe? I remember as a kid growing up in Southern Indiana, I used to wear my bathrobe out to do wrestling in the neighborhood with the other kids acting like Ric Flair. He walks out, does the big turn to show off the robe, and begins walking to the ring, styling and profiling like only he can do. And then Eugene follows him out about 10 steps later. And I'm spinning around like a whirling dervish just to imitate Flair. And Ric Flair's reactions, I think they were kind of, genuine. I mean, he told Triple H earlier in the day. He looks at him, he goes, "Look what you've done to me." And now he's partners with Eugene, who's at the time, very, very comedy, and Ric Flair sees him as a joke, but his reactions are like disdain and didn't want to be in the match. One thing that Flair and I walked through a couple of times earlier in the day was the actual entrance getting into the ring. And this became, I don't know if we want to call it iconic, but for me it was an iconic shot. Ric Flair, as usual, tells the referee to come hold the ropes for him, and he's stepping over the second rope underneath the top rope, and Eugene jumps right in and steps over the second rope. And then we become face to face with the top rope above us, and he's looking up and I'm looking at him, and we paused. And then Eugene just waves at him. And we walked through that several times because they wanted the cameraman to be able to find out exactly where the best place he could be to get the shot, as well as the still photo. Johnny Photo caught a great photo of that. It was just a really cool look and a cool moment for me. Eugene.
Real quick, that's what's good about the WWE is that they know how to capture little symbolic moments like that. They know how to plan these things for the right camera shots, the right photo shots. They know how to do these things purposely for those type of moments, for those shots, for the highlight video stuff, for, I don't know, the magazine covers, whatever they use these for at the time. But even now, the way that WWE purposely plans these things just to get those moments captured is genius to me. And I've always liked that about WWE.
The match, and then I got to do everything I've ever seen Ric Flair do. The taunts where he reaches the hands out and then woo, running the hands through his hair.
Look. Oh, Eugene styling and profiling a little bit.
I got to do the Ric Flair knee breaker where he picks the guy up and drops his knee on his knee.
Yeah. This is Flair again.
I got to do the knee drop where he does the knee drop and does the roll forward. Rob Conway and I traded chops in the corner, back and forth, back and forth. I reached out to tag Flair, and of course, I did the Flair face bump.
You know that.
And Flair got so angry. "That's my shit," is what he said. And he's progressively getting more and more frustrated and angry at Eugene doing the stuff that he's always done. Towards the end of the match, Eugene's on the floor and gets angry and snaps and gets in the ring and starts clubbering both of La Resistance. And then at one point, I had Sylvan in the corner, and I slide out to the floor, and I grab his leg, and I started slamming his legs, each one against the post. Bang, bang. And this is something that Eugene really didn't do. But I remember Arn Anderson was our agent, and earlier in the day, he wanted, to make Eugene look like he really snapped and went angry and just did something, brutal and animalistic almost. And that's what he came up with. And then Eugene gets in the ring. I think I pushed the ref and the match was disqualified, but that snap of Eugene going over the top, out of control was what we wanted, and I think we achieved it. I mean, that match was a lot of fun, and I'm honored to have been tag partners with one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. I look back at it as a highlight in my career. And for everybody that's wondering, no, I didn't get to keep the robe. So in the main event, it was Chris Benoit against Triple H. Chris Benoit was the World Heavyweight Champion. Triple H was challenging. At some point in the match, referee Mike Chioda got knocked down, and that's when Triple H called out Eugene. When Eugene gets to ringside, Benoit has Triple H in the crippler crossface. Triple H is tapping out, and Benoit screaming at Eugene to get the ref. And I remember we walked through this several times. It had to be very slow and very deliberate, that Eugene would creep around towards the ref, get up on the ring. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And Benoit lets go of the crossface and then nails Eugene to the floor. What was that all about? Benoit turns around into the pedigree. Triple H covers. Now he's screaming, Eugene, get the ref. And again, slowly creep around to where Mike Chioda was laying on the floor and help him back into the ring. 1, 2, late kick out. After the kick out, referee Mike Chioda collapses back down again, and Triple H tells Eugene to get a chair. And I remember it was a slow, deliberate walk. The camera's right on me. I get the chair. I'm undecided what I should do. I slide it in. Triple H pulls the chair back above his head, about to hit Benoit, and that's when Eugene grabs it. But he pie faces Eugene right to the floor. Benoit turns around. He and Triple H have a quick back and forth that leaves both of them laying down, and the chair laying right in the middle of the ring. And this was the key moment for Eugene. This is what we walked through several times earlier in the day. Eugene looking at the chair as if he shouldn't grab it, looking out at the crowd, listening to the crowd, letting the commentators tell the story, knowing in my head that the time we have on the pay-per-view is slowly clicking down, so I can't take forever, but I don't want to rush it. So I get that chair in my hand and I grab it, undecided what I should do with it, looking at the crowd. And I've said it before, this is a facial business. And this is what we were trying to capture right here. This is what we walked through earlier in the day. What facials Eugene could have as I raised the chair about to hit Benoit.
Smash him! Don't do it, Eugene! Smash him! Don't do it! Follow your heart!
I just can't do it, and I lower it, and the crowd approves. And then I notice Triple H is down.
What is he thinking? No, Eugene, don't you dare!
But I just can't do it again. And I feel like the pace at which I told that story with my mannerisms and my face was so perfect. And sometimes less experienced, newer talent rushes through things like that. They want to be doing moves. When the fans react to emotions and facials, then it came time for the finish. And this is what we had to walk through several times because the timing had to be perfect and the chair shot had to be perfect. Eugene rips the chair away from Benoit, accidentally hitting Triple H right in the face. Eugene gets out of the ring. Benoit catches a 1, 2, 3, and the pay-per-view goes off with Benoit exiting, Triple H in the middle of the ring angry, and Eugene on the floor. And again, we walked through this several times because this is the last thing that we want the people to see on the pay-per-view. This is our closing moment that's then going to go into Raw the very next night. Now, if I would have been walking and pacing, the camera would have had to pan back and just see my body. But because I stood there and just cried and knew that I was in trouble, they could zoom in on my face. They could get a close-up. And the last of the pay-per-view was Triple H angry, Eugene crying. Back and forth, back and forth. What's going to happen on Monday night? Tune in tomorrow, folks. Boom, and we went out. And I feel like that was a perfect finish for Eugene's storyline leading into what we did the very next night. And I remember coming back and everybody was excited because everything hit perfectly and we got our time. It was an awesome pay-per-view and I was so excited to be a part of it. But the next night on Raw, it was hell to pay for Eugene. One thing I wanted to do was take the slam off the top. And Conway and I were going to do that. And I remember I was running these moves by Flair. And that was the only one that he said, hey, you know, that's just something I used to do. Or that's just something I do. And he kind of talked me out of it. And I really don't know why. I don't know if he thought too much of all that would be mocking him, but I mean, he's a legend, and this is a guy that we looked up to, and these are the things I wanted to do to imitate him. And as we know, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
My theory about maybe why Ric Flair was like, I don't know about that one, is that it doesn't make sense, like in terms of the match. Because see, Ric Flair, yes, we all know that the whole him going to the top rope and him getting thrown off, yes, we all know that's like a trope that he does. That's one of the things he does in like every match. It's one of his go-tos. But I guess in terms of psychology, it doesn't really make much sense. Like, why would Eugene go to the top knowing he's going to get thrown off just because Ric Flair does it? Like, it doesn't make much sense psychology-wise. So, you know what I mean? And so even if they were to try to do that legitimately, like, oh, Eugene's going to just go off the top rope and, oh, he just happened to get thrown off. Hey, kind of like that happens to Ric Flair. It would still be weird for the commentators to kind of acknowledge that. To kind of acknowledge, oh, hey, that's a Ric Flair trope right there. Like, yeah, why would Eugene go to the top rope? Well, first of all, why would Eugene, I don't think really, did he go to the top rope regularly? I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it could have worked. Like, yeah, he just happened to go to the top rope. I don't remember if Eugene went to the top rope. I think he did. Didn't he do like a top rope, like a chop from the top? Yeah. But like, maybe if he did do that, maybe it could have worked psychology-wise. Anyway, that's my theory. Like, psychology-wise, it wouldn't have made sense for him just to go up there to get thrown off. Oh, just because Ric Flair does it. Like, why would Eugene purposely put himself in harm to mock, not to mock, but to copy Ric Flair? Or it could just be, yeah, maybe Ric Flair thought, okay, it's too much. I don't know. We don't know. But that's personally my theory. Let me know what your theories are on that. This was an enjoyable, entertaining video from Nick Dinsmore. I liked it. But I felt like I feel like it was just more of a recap. I feel like we didn't really learn much that was new other than the whole move that Ric Flair didn't allow. And maybe a little bit of insight of the producing of the match. You know, like the ideas that went into producing the match. That's the only thing we really learned that was new. So, I mean, this is a good video, but I don't know if if this is all that his videos are like, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep covering it, because I want to learn things from more behind the scenes, not just a recap, even though it's entertaining. But what did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy this? Like I said, I liked it, but I want to cover videos where I think for people are going to learn something new. So what do you guys think about that? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy content like this. Smash that like button. And if you do enjoy content like this, I got a whole bunch more goodies on the screen for you to binge on and enjoy.